So will British business collapse if Britain leaves the EU? You know it, but this is the deliberately controversial way in which this question is put by political commentators and the media all the time, and we need to have an effective and effectively communicated answer to it. Otherwise, frightened voters, believing what the established parties will say, will be afraid to vote for us. I think you've heard during the course of this morning's sessions and some of the afternoon sessions that the facts do not give that impression. But I think we need to get that message across consistently, clearly, and really communicate it to the British people, because they are frightened about this topic. From my own point of view, I don't have a series of statistics and surveys to show you. What I have is experience of working both in the UK and in Europe for the last 25 years, predominantly in financial services and in a range of other sectors. I'd like to give you just a few impressions of what is quite a complex topic, but a few of what I think are some of the more important impressions about what it's like to work in Europe, what things might be like if we go forward in Europe, and some of the opportunities as well as the challenges if we were to leave the European Union. First of all, let's be clear. The world trades with Europe, and Europe trades with the world. I see competition not just from domestic European companies, but international companies from China, America, Russia, India, you name it. You saw the list of companies that import into the Eurozone this morning in the first speaker's session. So I know that those companies are able to trade effectively within the Eurozone in much the same way as we trade in other countries. Some of this is about setting up partnerships with local entities. Some of it's as simple as opening a local office. Some of it we can trade directly to, depending on agreements. But let's be clear, countries that are currently outside the Eurozone have businesses that trade very effectively within Europe, and we can do exactly the same. At the end of the day, when I sit down with some of my European colleagues and we have dinner, maybe the odd glass of wine, inevitably the conversation turns to the European Union. I have to tell you that as businessmen, their primary objective is not political. Their primary objective is to grow their businesses in each and every way that is possible for them. That means developing markets within the Eurozone and outside the Eurozone. Many of them are equally frustrated with the increasing regulation and inward focus that our European diplomats, bureaucrats, politicians are fostering not only upon the United Kingdom, but on the rest of the Eurozone as well. They have to operate within those constraints, and they are equally frustrated. In terms of what life might be like if we continue for the next 5, 10, 15 years within the Eurozone, first of all, let's be clear. This will not bring stability. There is no such thing as the static nature of business. The global economy is changing at an ever-increasing pace, and we can either participate in it or we will get left on the side. In business, change is a constant, and this is a universal rule. So people who tell you that staying within the Eurozone will give business the stability it needs is clearly not a businessman. I think the inward focus and increasing regulation, if history have anything to go by, will turn businesses inward, stifle innovation, stifle investment, certainly from foreign entities, and generally be to the detriment and inefficiency of our own businesses. We will continue to compete within Europe, but our presence and competitive on the global stage in the BRIC economies that are driving the global growth will inevitably be reduced, and we will, over time, feel the pain of that as increasingly jobs are lost out of the UK and indeed the rest of the Eurozone. I do not think that continuing within the EU is either necessary to trade in the European and global stage, nor is it helpful. So what might happen if we leave the EU? Clearly there will be change. Let's not kid ourselves. But as I hope I've explained, change happens every year. I have to learn new regulations, new ways of doing business, new processes that I need to follow every year within the existing EU structure. I am under no doubt that if we leave the EU, we will have a similar set of regulations that we need to learn and adopt. This is actually part of what businesses do naturally every year. So this is not something which is new and is not a radical change. Ultimately, I think it will give UK businesses more opportunity to balance the benefits of trading within the EU and the Eurozone, which is an important part of our economy, but balance it in a meaningful way with trade with the rest of the world. I do have to tell you that in our own business, the real growth sectors in our worldwide portfolio are not within the Eurozone. They are in the BRIC economies, South America, Russia, India, China, the Far East and Asia. These are the places that are growing at 20, 30, 50%. And like many companies, we are targeting some of our best talent to go into the growth areas. It's inevitable. It's what good business does and will continue to do. I think if we have a more balanced view of trade, both within Europe and in the global economy, we will enable ourselves to take more balanced decisions on where to invest globally versus locally. So ultimately, I think this is both a factual topic and really quite an emotive topic. I think it's quite personal how you feel about this topic. I think it comes from a whole range of your own beliefs and the facts that you've heard. But I hope I've given you a very brief and simplified view of why I think this, rather than being the breaking of the British economy, I think this could actually be the making of British business going forward. Thank you very much.